Hey everyone, welcome back to our 4v4 roundout style team battle against Team Exceed. The fourth match now is Mythos vs. Frosch. Mythos using the Shadow Paladins and Frosch using the Oracle Think Tank. As usual, even though Mythos will partake in our commentary, he does not partake when he is the one fighting.
He also left for Rose's match early. Mythos usually hates fighting OTT.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how this will work.
Guess it depends on how many crits this uses.
I guess. Yes. Shit. Tell them that in the chat.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. We did. Forever ago. I just didn't need it last game.
Yeah. Double Mulligan is important.
Double Mulligan is very important.
Especially for Oracle Think Tank unless they use Coco. Because Coco actually reneges on the G assist. Literally you remove 2 cards from play, but then when you ride grade 3 you draw 3 anyway. Dark Cat. Interesting. Not many people Dark Cat nowadays. Then again, this team has been weird from the get-go. Gold Paladin player using Cheer-Up as a starter. The Neo Nectar player you fought. Well, actually, that was kind of straightforward.
Yeah.
The Brawler player, though. That was bizarre.
That was funny.
In a way.
In a way.
You were in pain.
I was in pain, but
you were in
now
a lot
that
of
I'm
pain.
relaxed, now that I'm okay, I got my match in. We're okay.
Mythos going reckless again, calling triggers.
Mythos always calls triggers.
He does, but I'm just saying more the fact that it's a reckless style of play, especially because if he is fighting a 12 crit OTT, then that could lead to this being really bad for him.
Well, have we seen
like
any
really
other
bad, really fast.
Have we seen any other crits other than Psychic Bird?
Don't know.
I actually looked away for a minute. So
have we seen any other triggers besides that Psychic Bird?
Not that I know of. Did he draft check anything?
It's about to now. Well, those were 2 grade 3s.
Well then.
Matarasu and Urahime.
Those are usually the cards that... Those are usually the other grade 3s in this style of deck. Actually, just in general for nowadays. Most people, when they use Susanoo for Stride and everything, it's always Amaterasu. And so, Mythos strides, dropping the Drag Ruler. And because Shadow Paladin haven't gotten their stride yet in CFA, we have Harmonix Messiah. Frosch cannot guard. So we have Masquerade, PBA.
Yep.
And another PBA. Okay. PBA
yeah.
apparently says hi. And that is a Norihime. So that was 3 grade 3s in a row on Frosch's side. So Mythos uses...
You know, it's good and bad at the same time.
So Mythos uses Judge Bal, gets the Sword Breaker, gets a draw from that. And then swings for the rear guard. Which he guards.
I feel like... Oh, that's another crit.
That is another crit. So no, there's probably 8. And we have Stride, because there is plenty of grade 3s in that hand. But,
yeah.
However, Oracle Think Tank do have their own Stride right now. This is Quillin, which is an on-hit. But he decides to also use Susanoo, because he strides. Counter plus 1. Look at the top 2. You put one in your hand, the other one on the bottom. And he decides on a
Quillin
Psychic
hits,
Bird.
it's going to do the same thing.
From Susanoo, we get a Psychic Bird. Because bird.
Also, the starter has the same skill. Chooses not to do that, wants to keep Counter Blast, because it would be Counter Blast 1 to do it. And critical.
And that's the Nike.
We're going critical.
Crit on guard. Oh, that was a double crit. See, I lag. Leave me alone. Mythos gets a heal trigger, however it does not heal. And Masquerade. So Mythos guards with 2 Buster, I think? Yeah, I mean, Dark, wow. He's gonna kill me when he hears that. Now he has the option to either Stride or, he could have Legioned, but he decides to Stride. Dropping one of those double PBA that he grabbed last turn. Another Harmonix Messiah. So there isn't much else to choose from. I mean, I guess he could go Atmos, but you don't want to use too much Counterblast.
Yeah, especially because of what he wants to do later, considering PBA is his Vanguard.
So then, that's 21, 31, 41. That is 2.
2 to pass.
It is a 2 of 3.
All that Frosch really needs.
That is a 3
nope,
of 3.
decides to drop a draw trigger.
Okay.
So now we know draw triggers are in the deck.
So this is an 8 crit deck. However, Mythos does get a heal trigger. That actually goes off this time. And Judge Bal.
How the hell is that 21?
Hell is what 21?
How the hell is that Masquerade 21?
Did he get 2 triggers?
No. Not that I saw.
How the hell?
What the hell happened?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's something for the playback.
This is why we record. Because we're so... Okay, now we have Takumi Kazuchi. And he has plenty of Counterblast to do both.
Yeah.
Yep, Susanoo, Counterblast 1. Looks up top 2, grabs 1. Takumi Kazuchi...
Technically, if you...
What?
Technically, if he wants to just say screw it to all of his Counterblast, he could get a bunch of hand. Because the Counterblast 2, flip 1, and then check top 4, then Counterblast 1, put starter
the starter.
into soul.
I forgot the starter. Oh,
yeah.
There it is. There's the starter. So starter is what? Look for 2, pick 1? Like the other ones? Yeah. Takumi Kazuchi is the only weird one where it's look at 4, get 2. But I guess it's worth 2 Counterblast and flipping itself up. Of course, if he does that, that is absolutely all the Counterblast that he has. And he does it. This is a last resort. Prepare for the worst! Grabs a Susanoo and the grade 1 generation break attacker. But even if he calls the grade 2 Susanoo, because the grade 3 Susanoo is the heart, it doesn't get the power.
Oh.
However, that thing does. Shina Tsuhiko. Is that a guy?
That isn't a Mane.
Oh, right. That is a Mane. That
Yes.
means it is a guy. That's terrifying.
Yes. Yes.
So, Mythos, Quintet, Wall. And there is a perfect guard in there, which he decides to use
Yep.
because the rest
Because
of that is
it
not
doesn't, it's not from hand.
It is not from hand. This is an old one. We can use this.
Exactly. This is why these are still good and why people should use them when they run Quintet 12s.
Quintet, Wall.
That was a heal trigger, by the way.
Yes, it was.
It's gonna make things more difficult for Mythos in the next turn.
Indeed. And he's smart and grab that perfect guard. So if he
Exactly.
So if he actually uses the special perfect guard,
That doesn't gain 3k when it's attacking a rear guard, but it doesn't change the guard.
Ah. I completely missed it. Okay, so now Mythos will Legion. Putting a heal, a crit, a draw, and one of those blaster darks. Because I know I saw 3 of them in that drop.
Heal, crit, draw, and stand for some reason.
Maybe he knows that the 4th one is in deck. Because there's 3 in the drop.
If the 4th one isn't in hand, that means it could only be in deck.
That is true. Okay, so it was. He is smart. He is one that we do not have to worry about fucking up with Legion.
I'm pretty sure he was looking at his drop zone to count his Blaster Dart Revengers, which is why the 4th card didn't come out right away.
Probably.
I just put my Legion Mate back in deck because I want to call it from deck anyway.
Well,
but my
see,
situation
I have
is very
to count.
unique.
I have to count because sometimes I'll have a bunch of mine.
Because you want them in Soul.
Because I want them in Soul, yeah. So, for the
So
record...
it doesn't get anything in the Twin Drive.
For the record, did he unflip?
Did who unflip?
The other guy. He changed what he decided
Frosch?
to drop, but he didn't unflip because there's a special perfect guard in there. Ow.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, he healed one. That's what I was saying. If he used a perfect guard, he could unflip.
Huh.
Apparently not.
Guess it didn't notice.
Apparently so. I now take back my credit to him for being smart about that when you don't even recognize you can use them.
Well, keep in mind, this has turned into a heat of the moment situation.
You should still be able to pay attention. That
Yeah.
is 22 indeed because of Rakia. So he needs...
No point in guarding.
There really is none. Because if you...
So that's 2 unflips that is supposed to happen. Oh, right, it's attacking rear guard.
Okay, let's try this again.
Even more reason to no guard.
Oh my god. Alright, 3rd time's the charm. I'm going to lose my mind.
To be fair, I thought that Mythos was hitting Vanguard.
I would have let the perfect guard go. I forgot about that too, but the fact that he wouldn't have unflipped. Again.
Yeah. Yeah, Frosch is kind of paying for the fact that he didn't unflip.
Because he could have strode again
Because
for just
Stride
flailing.
could have gotten Susanoo's skill. Susanoo's skill first.
He literally...
Well, Susanoo's skill happens regardless. Even if he had decided to call 2 more units from hand, it still would have happened.
It's fine. I mean, I guess now that I look at it, Susanoo's Generation Break 2 isn't actually that bad because Mythos is at 4 damage.
Yeah. It's the best way to put pressure on the situation.
That is a no pass.
Yep.
He is not taking the risk of that critical. That is a draw, though.
It's better to not take the risk of that critical.
And that is a great one. So as usual, the Oracle Think Tank hand returns.
That was a mistake.
What was a mistake?
Attacking the Vanguard there was a mistake. Mythos could probably win just from that. Yep, Mythos wins just from that.
Oh, yep. Yep, he does. Yep. Yep. He gave him that second counterblast that he needed.
People need to count those things and remember that's a possibility.
So now he knows that there was only all the other blaster darks were in the drop.
Like we said, he knows to count.
He knows
like
to
we
count.
said, he knows to count.
I just find that funny.
And now he's gonna drop his entire hand to end this.
That is a judge bow.
Yep, and because it's a grade 0, the skill activates. Rekia.
Indeed. And there's another grade 0.
So more Rekia.
I guess we know what's retiring. It's not gonna be Rekia.
It feels like it's gonna be everything but Rekia.
It is gonna be everything but Rekia. Well, it's gonna be the mana, the.
Basically, it's gonna be everything but Rekia and what Rekia is boosting. Because if you took out what Rekia is boosting, then there's kind of no point.
Exactly.
Frosch no guard at the first attack and is perfect guarding here.
That is the
Second
third fucking perfect guard you could have unflipped with. Sorry, the second technically, because technically the second one fucked up. This is another one. Okay, he did. I am so proud of you. Not really. I was gonna be livid again. If he's gonna ask to unflip.
Yeah, Frosch can't live.
If he's gonna ask to unflip again, I'm gonna be pissed. Oh, no. You only unflip one. If that was the case, that you could unflip 2 because there's 2 copies in the drop zone, I think that would be bullshit.
Although there are some clans that literally need that.
There are some clans that need that, however.
But it's not right.
It's not right. And now, we destroy everything. So we got a crit and a heal. All the power went to Masquerade. However, the crit did go to Vanguard. 21, 31. That's a 2. And that's all. So Mythos doesn't get 4 triggers in a row. Sad case. He got 3.
Well, without yet another perfect guard, this match is over.
Well, all the perfect guards are out of play.
Exactly.
Yay! Finally!
So Mythos wins this one. If Shotaro beats Happy, the match ends here. Although, if the match is anything like what happened last time...
We'll see what happens.
Oh god.